Welcome to today's session. We have made our initial discussions on meaning and scope of supply, one of a very important term under GST, preferably the term by name called as your supply. And we also understood supply can be broadly categorized into this four buckets, either as a generic term or as a import of service or activities that are done even without consideration. So few activities that are done even without consideration is treated as a deemed supply, and certain activities which are no supply. So no supply means not a supply, no supply, those categories. Apart from that, government always had a confusion. Assessee had a confusion whether a particular transaction is a supply of goods or supply of services. For that, we also brought in a specific schedule for us. I'm sure you all will recollect, we have completed the generic term, import of service and activities relating to schedule 1. There also 3 transactions was over, only 1 transaction is pending. Today's our scope is to close no supply and all those schedule 2 transactions. Coming back here. Generally supply means, you all are aware, all those 5 conditions need to be met. Okay. I'm not discussing now. You are all aware. What are those 5 conditions? Quickly, let's sum up. Yes, what are those 5 conditions? All forms of supply made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration in the course of furtherance of business. If all these 5 conditions are met, then yes, it would be termed as supply. Any organization which satisfy all these 5 conditions, you get 5 ticks, tick, 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 tick. All these conditions are cumulative conditions. We call this as cumulative conditions. What do we mean by a cumulative condition, sir? All the conditions has to be satisfied. That is what we call it as cumulative condition. If you satisfy one condition and if you don't satisfy another condition, then it is either or conditions. These are all cumulative conditions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 satisfied. So we have a generic word of supply. When all 5 conditions are satisfied, it would be treated as a supply. Because we came here, because we taken up this discussion, I would ask you only 2 illustrations because you people want more illustrations, more examples than normally I give. Because of that reason, let me go back to this discussion and take one illustration. It was a charitable organization, but the main source at which they fundraise was, though it is a charitable organization, they had a vacant land. That vacant land was rented to a company to construct a building and run a supermarket. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the topography of Chennai. Okay. T-Nagar. Okay. T-Nagar. Majority of the land belongs to trust, charitable organizations. You see the big high-rise buildings, 8 floors, 10 floors, 12 floors. Land belongs to a charitable trust. Organization signs up agreement with a charitable trust. You can ask me, sir, charitable trust with that money, what they do? That charitable trust engage in charity, education of poor, welfare of people. See, those days people mind was that buy a land in a very upcoming area, keep that land in the name of the trust, sign an agreement with a company, not 1 year, 2 years, 30 years. And every 5 years there will be increase in the rent. Just for your information, one of the charitable organization has land on a prominent place in your T Nagar street. Okay, on a very prominent place. Now, they signed up the land and gave the land on a land rent of 10 lakh rupees per month. The land is given for a 10 lakh rupee per month. Building, it should be constructed by the respective, what is it? You say Chennai Silks, you say Kumaran Jewelry, you say Pothis, you say Nalli, you say this, you say that. We will not get it. Question before me is supply, not a supply. Of course, 10 lakh rupee consideration. Quick, quick. I want answers. Good. A lot of you coming up with right answers. Good. You all now start to understand those logics. Sir, we will not get carried away by the color of the organization. You do charity, we agree with you, we are respect you, but the underlying transaction has a business sense associated with it, and it is a supply. It is a service made or agreed to be made by a person for a consideration. So it is a supply and it is leviable to GST. That's it's a understanding of it, because a lot of you are coming up with the right answers. We'll quickly move forward towards the next part of our discussion. As part of the next part of our discussion, it was a specific discussion on import of service, treating all import of services as a supply. In case of import of service, the law comes out and says import of service, supplier should be outside India, recipient should be in India, and place of supply, one more additional word, India. In case of import of service, if a consideration is paid to a person, whether that consideration is it or whether that activity in the course or furtherance of business or not in the course or furtherance of business, both would be treated as supply. When it comes to import of service, we don't make a distinction between business and other than business. That is what we did. So the question that has been before you is, Mr. R in India. Mr. R in India used a service of a person in USA for $500 to improve his Mr. R, an individual in India, okay, an individual in India, used the services of a linguistic professional who helps people in speaking skills, okay, linguistic professionals. And that linguistic professional is located in USA after payment of $500 to improve his language skills. Now the question before you is, Mr. R is not going to do any commerce activity and all, just for your additional information, just an additional information. Mr. R is 86 years young. Okay, don't underestimate. Mr. R is 86 years young. Okay, that's how we call it. 1.5 weeks before, I called one of my senior mentor on indirect taxes. This story only I shared before you. Ganesh, I'm learning a particular linguistic skill, I told. I said I was amazed, sir. At 86, Ganesh, I'm 86 years younger. He every time claim. Now I'm coming to the core discussion of us is now, yes, 86 years, young gentleman, learn linguistic skill. Don't ask me where he is going to use and all. That's an individual perception. I still remember some of the words of very seasoned people, where if memory serves me right, it was Socrates or Bernard Shaw. I'm not sure. It's either the principal or his junior, when he was being asked in the jail, tomorrow you are going to be hanged. What is your last wish? Get me a book. I want to read it. This fellow got shocked. Rum, I'm going to throw you on the jail and I'm going to hang you. You want a book? I'll die so wise by reading that one more book. That were the thoughts of the people. Any case, coming back here, we have a very serious, inspirational people all around us. Come back here. Maybe those discussions, what we share, are all recorded, so all of us know. We are not sure. Sometimes our people in or around in the kit and kin are also so wise and so inspirational to us. Rarely we appreciate them. Come back here. Intentions are very simple. This 86 years young man who comes up and use these services. Uh, is it an import of service? The answer would be yes. A lot of you shared. Yes, it is going to be a import of service. Hope you could able to understand this logics. That's all. Moving forward, schedule one activity. Schedule one activity. Government comes up with a schedule. Government wants to conclude that these activities would be treated as supply of service. Maybe I would put it in this way. Government feels these transactions, activities which are all mentioned here, on these transactions, even if it is made or agreed to be made without consideration, it should be treated as supply. So an activity done even without consideration, it should be treated as supply. That is what is the intention of government. And 4 transactions are placed here. I personally believe 3 transactions we have concluded. We will revise that 3 transaction and get into the 4th transaction for our continuation. What are those 3 transactions? Permanent transfer or disposal of a business asset on which input tax credit has been claimed. If you permanently transfer or permanently dispose of a business asset, not a fixed asset, business asset. So it could be your laptop, it could be your mobile phone, it could be your electronic equipment, it could be electrical fitting, it could be your table, chair, furniture, car, or machine, or anything. It's a business asset of the organization. If a business asset of an organization is permanently transferred. So what do we mean by permanent transfer? As simple as it is against temporary transfer, it will not come back is a sign. Once it's moved out of your office, it will not come back. One of our friend, one of our friend runs a particular shop, a gift shop, and he's attached himself to a particular brand by name called as this Archives or Archives, if I'm not wrong. That's how we pronounce. A brand by name that. So every time for anybody, he'll give only gift of that particular brand when he gets married. When any function, if in our home we have Archive products, all among the friends will say, this fellow only gave no. Now the point that I want to drive home is, for one such friend, there is going to be a celebration in his house, and he want to give the wall clock. For all the others, they will buy wall clock from a shop. For him, he will take wall clock from the shop. Hope you could be able to understand the difference. Now he came. Many of our friends had their housewarming ceremonies at a particular age, which sometimes their father dreams, sometimes their dream, whatever be it. And generally, he'll present one particular wall clock. In fact, a lot of us somehow, because of him, got fond of that wall clock itself. A particular that the home will open, what is it, the pigeon will come and say on the time, so many number of repeats it will have based on the time at which it clinks. The point that I want to drive home here is very simple. Is it a supply? The wall clock that is taken by that proprietor who runs a proprietary firm of a printing and stationery or a gift shop equipment. And no doubt, when he procured it, he would have claimed input tax credit. I don't want anybody to think in a different way. When you make 100 wall clocks, when you buy 10 wall clocks, you would have availed automatically input tax credit. Now the question is it a supply, not a supply, or a deemed supply? Okay. 3. Fourth option, if you want, none of the above. Maybe we'll have 4 options. Supply, not a supply, deemed supply, none of the above. Quick. Prabhakaran, maybe you can check your answer. Gangadharan, you have answered it before me giving the option, I believe. By your time, I understand. Okay. Supply. Duru, check your answer, Duru. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply. Naveen Jacob, can you check your answer? How come you say there is no business asset? Shruti, check your answer. Sneha, check your answer. Sai Kant, check your answer. Quick. Guru, you are revising your answer. Good. If you revise your answer, if you put the asterisk mark, it would give us a clear thought. Good. Now, any case, coming back here. Good. So you are also revising answer. Supply without consideration. No doubt, the asset that is purchased, the wall clock that is removed from his office or shop is a business asset. It's not a personal asset. Understand? It's a business asset. And it is now permanently transferred for somebody else. So it would be treated as a deemed supply or a supply as per Schedule 1. Make yourself comfortable. Any transaction between principal to agent or agent to principal would be treated as supply. I'm not pressing much because we know that many times. And any import of service from foreign country from a related person would be treated as deemed supply. So import of service from a related person, that service should be, of course, in the course or furtherance of business. If it is used for a business purpose, yes. Maybe a little examples, we'll take it up after discussion of today's core discussion on related person or distinct person. Supply of goods or services between related or distinct person. Two important words. What do we mean by a term related person? What do we mean by a term distinct person? When it comes to related person, when it comes to the word related person is concerned, the law is very clear that such person are officers and directors of each other business. They are legally recognized partner in business. They are, or such persons are going to be employer and employee. Any person directly or indirectly owns, controls, or hold 25% or more. Or one of them directly or indirectly control the other. Both of them directly or indirectly controlled by a third person or control a third person. They are members of same family. I want all of you to concentrate on the words that are bolded or highlighted by me. You have to remember this 8 people. Okay, you will have 8 people here to start with. Such person here refers to the supplier and recipient. Such person are officer, director of each other business. What do we mean by officer, director of another's business or each other's business? In R Limited, yes is a in R Limited, yes is going to be your officer. In S Limited, R is going to be an officer. And a transaction is now going to happen between R Limited and S Limited. So very clear. R Limited share is held by R, but R is not the officer. or director? Who is officer or director? Yes. In S Limited, share is held by S, but R is not what? Director. Cross holding will come or cross directorship will come. And in cross directorship, what they do, they run the business. R Limited will sell to S Limited. R Limited will say, I am S individual director. I take independent decisions. Their S Limited director, R will say, no, I take independent decision. Where is the question of independency? Both of you are officer, director of another's business or each other's business in an easy way. Related. The moment you know this, the moment you know supplier and recipient are like this, then it's like this. They are legally recognized partners. See, sometimes a transaction happen between two people, and in that both transactions, there will be common partners. A, B, C and Co. provide services to C, D, E and Co. Common partner C. They are legally recognized partners. Hence, the transaction will become what? Related persons transaction. Or employer-employee. Any transaction between employer-employee would be treated as related party transaction. Any person, look at that wording, directly or indirectly own, control or hold 25% or more of shares of equity stake of controlling power. How much percent? 25%. A Limited holds in B Limited 65% or 70%. A Limited holds in B Limited 70%. Is it more? Is it more than 25%? It will get covered automatically here. Okay. Now, what is the usage of that word indirectly? A Limited hold B Limited 70%. B Limited hold C Limited, let's say 80%. Indirectly, A Limited hold C Limited more than 25%. Can you able to appreciate this discussion? Make yourself. I know you are all are reading company law at your various levels. I know, I understand. Now, I want all of you to take control of all this. Okay. Next 4 entries are your crucial entry. In a corporate relationship, more important. A Limited hold 70% in B Limited. B Limited holds 80% in C Limited. Now a transaction happens between A Limited and C Limited. Are they related? A Limited hold B Limited 70%. B Limited hold C Limited 80%. Okay. Now a transaction happens between A Limited and C Limited. Are they related? Maybe you can say directly related or indirectly related. Sashikant, Ishwar, good. Directly related or indirectly related? Yes. Good. Good. So I think you all now started to understand how the things operate. Okay. So first condition, they should not be officer and director. Second, there should not be legally recognized partner. Third, they should not be all those what to say. After your legally recognized partner, they should not be employer employee, and those two people, supplier and recipient, should not be directly or indirectly holding 25%. Okay. A Limited holds 35% in B Limited. When we conclude, that is the first line answer directly. A Limited will hold B Limited, B Limited will hold C Limited, C Limited will hold D Limited. Transaction happen between A and D Limited. A limited, D limited, I don't know. You see my balance sheet, only B. Now here only you should go to B's balance sheet. When you go to B's balance sheet, you will get a link for what? C. When you go to C's balance sheet, you will get a link for what? D. Can we able to appreciate it? Or ulta we will come. In the shareholding pattern of D, we will check who is your shareholder, C. Who is your shareholder, B. Who is your shareholder, A. And what here? A and D. Okay. From an exam perspective, anything can be tested. Be clear on all these matter, and somehow the institutes are all interested in asking questions on this area. Okay. Two ways they test you. One, your understanding of company law will be evidenced. Two, your understanding of GST law also can be tested. Coming back here, post this. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. That's very simple. Directly or indirectly controls the other. The controlling stake is often referred as having a stake more than 51%. If you have a more than 51% stake, you can always say you have a controlling stake. Okay. So any transaction between holding company and subsidiary company may be a clear example for part 5. See, part 4, let me repeat, part 4, maybe directly you will not be related, but indirectly you will have that control. So that is a difference. Is there is a difference between 4 and 5? Yes, there is a difference. 4 and 5 says if you have direct or indirect more than 25, that itself is related. 5 says you should have a directly or indirectly a control on the other company. Control will come more than 51% holding. So in the current example itself is an example for 5 also. Both of them here refers to supplier and recipient. Both of them directly or indirectly control a third person. Both of them directly or indirectly control a third person. Which means what, sir? R Limited and S Limited are the owners of Q Limited. Possible? R Limited and S Limited are the owners of Q Limited. R Limited has 60%, S Limited has 40% on Q Limited. Now, R and S is not, those two are independent people. R has 60, Q has 40. Do business happens? Yes, I know organizations. There was an organization A, there was organization B. One is good in marketing, one is good in executing work. They got a synergy. Both of them joined, floated another company, and one said, I would take so much share. Another said, I would take so much share. Good. Executing, marketing, all that they took shares. Now, point for our discussion. Between the other two companies, if they do a transaction, then it would be treated as, no doubt, a related person transaction. Both of them directly or indirectly control the third person. Followed by, together they are controlled by a third person. Now you saw a child control. We call this as, in a layman's language, child control. Common child. E Limited, Q Limited, R Limited, S Limited had a common child called as P Limited. R and S Limited, in another example, not this example, R and S Limited is controlled by Q Limited. That is, your parent is common, treated as related. Though Reliance Industries Limited can have 240 plus subsidiaries. End of the day, parent company is what? Reliance. But main company, Reliance Industries Limited. That's all. You are surrendered to your parent. When Reliance Digital and Reliance Retail do a transaction, both parent is going to be what? Reliance Industries Limited. Understood? Common parent. If you have a common parent, your transaction between both of you is treated as a related person, or these two persons are treated as a related person, together, directly or indirectly, controlled by a third person, followed by, they are members of same family. I think we have already discussed about members of same family or family definition. Individual, spouse, linear ascendant, linear dependent, brother, sister who are wholly or mainly dependent. That word wholly or mainly dependent is an important word. If the brother and sister are individual by themselves, you have to deal with them. If the linear ascendant is an individual contributing member, you have to exclude it. If the linear ascendants are individual contributing member, you have to. If they are mainly dependent on that family member, then only it would be treated as what? Family. Else it would not be treated as. Okay. So coming back here, points for our further discussion on this modality. These people, 8 people, are called as your relatives. We'll just come back quickly. Let me repeat it. Try to repeat it because it requires that understanding and grip, a very important topic. Once again, when we go to section 15, valuation also we will discuss. But I want all of you to have a grip here itself. They are officers and directors of each other business. They are employer and employee. They are legally recognized partner. One of them hold more than 25% of equity stake directly or indirectly. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Both of them are controlled by a third person. Both of them are controlling a third person. They are members of same family. If these 8 transactions are any one is covered, then no doubt that transaction is a transaction between related. The term person that is used here, wherever they use, all that also include legal person. Don't come out and say only natural person is what referred here. Even legal person is used. What do you mean by legal person? It could be anything other than individual. All are legal person. Could be your HUF, could be your trust, company, partnership firm, AOP. All are legal person. They exist only in the eyes of the law. On the closure remarks, persons who are associated in the business as either a sole agent, sole distributor, sole concessioner are treated as relatives. Sir, do I need to remember this term related person? We have MCQs which directly test you on this definition, like how I have highlighted 1 or 2. We have wherever a descriptive question is applicable for respective exams, we have a direct descriptive question picked up on this topic for 4 marks. Who is a related person? So make yourself comfortable. Let me repeat, make yourself comfortable. These 8 persons would be treated as related persons. Any doubt? Yes, raise your hand anytime during the session. I'll unmute you. Don't wait until closure and all. Okay. If it is a very small doubt, put it on the chat box. See, because we type many things, it might get missed. However big, however small, have the habit of raising your hand so that it's easy. You can get it clarified instantly. It takes time to write. It's easy to speak. Srinivasan, I'll unmute you. Yes, you have some doubt. Raised your hand. Yes. Yes, Srinivasan.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, I can't get your, cross-holding transaction. First, you told no, sir. For first example, for related persons, I can't get with that example, sir. Can you come again with that?
What do you want?
I can't understand that
A
cross-holding.
cross holding and all. I never used the word cross holding. I use the word cross holding? No. I'm very clear. A limited holds B limited 70%. B limited holds C limited 80%. Okay. This is not cross holding, brother. Cross holding is a different word. Okay. Let's not use that word. A limited owns B limited 70. B Limited holds on C Limited 80%. There is a transaction proposed between A and C Limited. These two people are directly or indirectly related? What's the question? Yes.
Yes,
You are,
yes, sir. That I'm clear with. I didn't ask that, sir. That legally recognized partners you told, no, sir.
uh, correct.
That example I can't get with it.
Legally recognized partner means one partner is a, see, there are two partnership firms and two partnership firm has common partner.
Yes, sir.
A, B and C. This side you have C, D and E.
C is a common partner.
Common partner. Then related person.
Oh,
You have to be independent, no?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, okay, sir. Clear, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
A,
Thank you.
B and
Thank you.
C, one partner, one partnership firm. Another partnership firm where it is with C, D and E. Both are two different firms. But the problem here is common partner is C. So because common partner is C, then it would be covered as they are. They here refers to, or such person refers to the supplier and recipient are legally recognized partnerships. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, you can unmute and lower hand. Such persons are legally recognized partners in businesses. That sums up our discussion on the first part of the word called as related person. What we have completed, sir, one word called as related person. Now, what we are going to do is read a next word called as distinct person. What do we mean by distinct person? A person who has obtained or is required to obtain more than one registration, whether in a state or union territory, or more than one state or union territory. In respect of each such states, let me repeat, in respect of each such state of registration will be treated as distinct person. Understand, in GST, every state, if they have a business operation, it is mandatory to take a registration in that state. We have a company which have operations in 5 states: Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. Why leave Pondicherry? Pick up Pondicherry also. In all these 6 places, they do business. They have factories. They manufacture their product. They do everything. Points for our discussion is, because they are involved in all these activities, because they are been able to do on all these activities, this 6 states, they will get themselves registered. Sir, why, sir? When we get into registration provisions, you will know. For the time being, accept this as a rule. When you go to registration, you will understand. Every state in which you do business for that company, you have to get yourself registered. A Limited has a head office in Tamil Nadu, has a branch office in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Pondicherry. 6 locations they have offices. Now, do they need to take one registration, sir, for all 6, or 6 individual registrations? If you ask me, it is 6 individual registration one has to take. Can you able to appreciate this discussion? 6 individual registrations one has to take. Sir, it means 6 registrations they will take. Yes, 6 registrations. Take a company like HDFC Bank. Take a company like SBI Bank, State Bank of India. You have to take, they have 34 registrations, which means that every state they have bank. And there are some special registrations are also. 34 registration HDFC Bank has. Now, will there be a possible bank wise one only, person wise one only, PAN number wise one only? All 34 registrations will come under the same PAN. Understand? It's not different. It's not HDFC Bank, HDFC Securities, HDB Financial Services. No. All are HDFC Bank Limited, main bank. It's PAN number only. Every state you have to take one registration if in case you engage in that state supply. This is a rule. Now what happens is, from branch office, goods goes to head office. From branch office, sometimes services are supplied to head office. Government treat the head office GST number, and the branch office GST number as two different person, not same person, two different person. So a person's registration in one state and the same person's registration in another state shall be treated as two distinct person, and any transaction between this distinct person will be treated as a deemed supply. A person's registration in one state, head office registered in Tamil Nadu of A Limited, and the same person's A Limited office in Andhra Pradesh will be treated as two distinct person, or instead of using a word two, distinct person. A person's registration in a state and the same person's registration in another state, it would be treated as distinct person. Some of you will have a doubt, sir, how government will know that the registration belongs to same person? Very simple. GST registration is a PAN based registration. Permanent account number given in income tax. No. GST registration is a PAN based registration. Because it is a PAN based registration, A Limited, I just want to know from all of you all, A Limited for whole of India will have one PAN. For every state, it will have one PAN. A Limited, a company, for India as a whole will have one permanent account number, or every state it will have one permanent account number. Type. Permanent account number is going to be, yes, whole of India, one PAN, or one India, one state, one PAN. PAN number, as you all rightly highlighted, PAN number is going to be what? For the whole of India, only one number. It will not change at all. One India, one PAN. Harish very clearly came up with a new slogan. Okay. One India, one PAN. Now, point here is this. Though one PAN is only there for be it Reliance, be it HDFC, be it SBI, anybody, one PAN only. Every state they have to take what? Registration. Now, some of you will have a genuine doubt. Sir, how government will know this is Andhra Pradesh, this is Tamil Nadu? I'll ask your practical experience. Some of you saw the GST numbers in, okay, those GST number started with what? You saw GST number? No. Don't say me, sir, in the last 3 years, I never saw one bill also, one GST number also. Sir, I saw, but I never concentrate. It will start with what? I want something, some numbers it will start. Okay. If you see some number, it will be there. It will start with some number. Yes. What number? 27. John. Gia. No. Sumit Jain, AA. No. 33. Okay. Somebody says 33. Good. Any other number? Well, do I need to see this? No, you have to see this. That's where you can understand. Zero and all, it will not start, Sashikar. That's your creativity. The first two digits. Yes. Yes, Duru. Yes. Somebody says 22. Somebody says 29. Good. A lot of you say 33. Divakar says 34. Shashmita says 30. Santosh says 12. Cyril says 20. Dhruv Thakkar. Sir, 1 to 35. Any number if you want, you put, sir. Every state in India is given by a central statistical organization, CSO, a state code. Tamil Nadu for central statistical organization is 33. Karnataka for India's central statistics organization is 29. Maharashtra, it is going to be 27. Delhi, it is going to be your 07, if I'm not wrong. Uttar Pradesh, it is going to be another number. Madhya Pradesh, it is going to be another number. So, every state is given with a state code. So, control is here. First two numbers is the state code. Tamil Nadu, that pan. Andhra Pradesh, that pan. Karnataka, that pan. Kerala, that pan. Can you able to understand? Any transactions between two GSTN of a same person. Same person. Look at the word same, SAME, same person. It would be treated as distinct person. Done. Can we move forward? Yes. So a person's registration in one state and the same person's registration in another state shall be treated as distinct person. Sir, is this is the end of this discussion? No. We have one more limb. Sometimes, rarely, not regularly, rarely, sometimes. Within a state, they will have two registrations. Let me repeat. One registration, whether in one state or union territory, or more than one state or union territory in respect of each registration. Or a person who has obtained or required to obtain registration in a state or union territory in respect of establishment, or has any establishment in another state or union territory, then each such establishments. A person who has obtained or required to obtain more than one registration. Let me repeat, more than one registration, whether in one state. Maybe I would come up with another color so that it's little easy for you to highlight. More than one registration, whether in one state or more than one state or union. See, the yellow one is what we have completed and closed. The other color we have yet to take. More than one registration, whether in one state or union territory. Sir, within one state, will I have multiple GST registrations? Again, the answer is yes, there is a possibility. There is a possibility that someone can have a multiple registration within a state. How that is possible? You are aware of a company by name called as ITC, ITC Limited. This company, ITC Limited. Points for our discussion is this ITC Limited Yes. This ITC Limited is going to be a company which is largely into various businesses. Take a company like ITC Limited. They are into hotel business. They are into sale of tobacco products. They are into sale of FMCG products. They are into various products. They are having a huge what is it, business vertical. If you are going to be the consultant for ITC Limited, I'll give you some suggestion. Their major business model is, one is tobacco distribution, another one is FMCG, then the third one is going to be on hotel, then the fourth one is on all those classmate printing and stationery items. Fifth is agri division. Prominently five areas. Okay, five areas. Now, on among these five areas, would you recommend a single GSTN within the state of Tamil Nadu for all this, or would you recommend multiple GSTN within the same state? It's an option. You are freely allowed to answer. But you are think at a little higher level. We are not talking of one rupee business, 2 rupee business. In Tamil Nadu alone, they will do a business of somewhere around some 5,000 crores. Of course, all five different businesses: hotel, tobacco, FMCG distribution, printing and stationery products, agri division. Five different business vertical. All five business risk is different. All five business model is different. All five tax compliance is different. All five rate of tax model, everything is different. Government is silent. Government says for all five you take one registration also. No, I can maintain, I will comply, I will do everything. Then for all five, take five different registration also. We as government, we allow you to do whatever you want. Now I am placing a question before you, is that will it be ideal to take one registration in Tamil Nadu or five different registrations? What would be more beneficial? Look from a company's perspective. Yes. Quick. A few of you answered. I want all of you to answer. Quick. Something is in our mind. Come with the thought. Then only you can become. Five different registration, one registration. See, some you have your own view. No, I would not say. One, there will not be many confusion. No, sir. Five different registration, multiple registration. So five different registration, one registration. Good. I get mixed views, but majority of you are insisting for five different registration, multiple registration. In fact, I would appreciate all of you for suggesting five different registration. Single registration, as you think, it is not that easy. See, currently we are all not exposed to a business requirement. One day, if our father runs a business, one day if we go to that business, observe and come, we will understand how much challenge it is. Today, running a business in India is equivalent to getting into some of the best adventurous activity in the world. Okay. If you want to really get into something very adventurous, then you have to get into business in India, not business in US, UK, German, Japan. In business in India is going to be the most adventurous activity because you will have no clue next minute what will happen. Some regulator, something would happen, suddenly he will impose something without even thinking how it is going to be applicable, what would happen, how is it practically can be implemented or not. If you implement, you do, otherwise you don't. Okay. Any case, coming back here, core discussions. Ideal is five different registration because for tobacco, which is predominantly a cash and carry business. Okay. And my tax rate, everything is different. Agri distribution is different. FMCG is different. A product like Classmate, I have to push in the market. Okay. So different products, patterns are different. Ideal is five registration. So within Tamil Nadu, look at the word, within Tamil Nadu, if they have 5 different registration, any transactions between them, each individual registration would be treated as distinct person. So both we are learning. Transaction between one state GST number to another state GST number. Sir, one state, another state means I will see the first two letters. It will be different. So by that I can understand. How do I know in the same state it is another registration number? Okay. You have a clue in the GST number itself. It's a 15-digit number. I am not revealing the clue now. When you go to registration topic, you should have something interesting to read. Otherwise, it will be boredom. So already that is a topic will be like that only. So I reserve that discussion for that. You will be tested in exams. You will be given information that a company has a registration in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and another registration in Tamil Nadu and Coimbatore. Okay, company has one registration in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, another registration in Coimbatore. Any transaction between Coimbatore and Chennai is treated as a transaction between distinct person or not a transaction between distinct person. A question to you. Any transactions between a registered person in TN Chennai and a registered person in TN Coimbatore of a particular company R Limited. So the question before you, it has to be treated as DP, which means what? A distinct person, or NDP. Okay. Yes. Sumit Jain, what is that maybe yes? Maybe yes means you are giving an examiner option. If you want, you put right. If you don't want, if you don't put wrong, means you'll put wrong. Okay? And don't get carried away by your answers. Distinct person, not a distinct person. That's all. DP, NDP. That's all. Yes. A distinct person, not a distinct person. Priya, check your answer. Duru, come back here. Duru and a few others. Any transactions between a person registered in one state with a GST number and the same person having another registration, two different registration within the state. Possible, sir? Yes, possible. That will also be treated as distinct person. Let me repeat. A lot of you got it right, except three or four people. This discussion is applicable only under GST law. A very careful discussion. Many times you will slip only here. If it is between two different states, easily you will understand because two different states involved in it. But within a state also, if you have two GSTIN, goods and service tax identification number, GSTIN 1, GSTIN 2, two GSTIN, then it would be treated as distinct person. Hope that is clear to you. If they have two different GSTIN, then it would be treated as distinct person. So make yourself comfortable. If a person has two different offices, one in Andhra Pradesh, one in Karnataka, in any case, both will be separately registered, no doubt, distinct person. Inside Karnataka, he has one office in Bangalore, one office in Mysore. Both offices enjoy only one GST number. Office in Bangalore, office in Mysore has only one GST number. Both offices together enjoy one GST number. goods moves from the Karnataka Bangalore office to Karnataka Mysore office. Now, is there is a transaction between distinct person or it is not to a distinct person? Let me repeat. Karnataka, in Karnataka, they have offices in two locations. One in Bangalore, another one is going to be in Mysore. Two offices they have. Both office comes under one registration. Let me repeat, one registration. When goods moves from Bangalore to Karnataka Mysore office, Bangalore to Mysore office, is it a transaction between is it a transaction between distinct person or it is going to be a transaction between non-distinct person, DB or NDB? First few answer, whoever answered, all of you are all good, answered it properly. Ishwar, I don't understand your logic. Why related person comes here? Jayant, check your answer. Ishwar P, check your answer. Deepa, check your answer. Subhashini, check your answer. Cyril, check your answer. Vidya Shankar, check your answer. Sobarnika, check your answer. Do they have two different GSTIN or only one registration? Check there. Distinct means you should have two GSTN or one GSTN. You all know, but not applying that logic correctly. That's all. People who have already had a different answer, I want you to read through it and come back here. I called already your name. Is there two GSTIN or only one GSTIN? Niveda, do I mention in the question there is two GSTIN? Do you think in Karnataka, Bangalore office one GST number is there and Mysore office one GST number is there? Or for Karnataka officers, all officers together, one GSTIN? I believe from the question you can understand for all Karnataka office together, one GSTIN is there. So there is a distinct person or non-distinct person. Non-distinct person, as there is only one GSTN, non-distinct person. So there is no transaction between distinct person. So it is not a, so maybe when we get into our mainstream discussion on our schedule 1, at that time you'll have a better grip, I personally believe. Now, what we understood now is only very simple discussion, which is going to be whether the said activity would be treated as related person or distinct person. Beyond that, we never discussed anything. Just whether the activity, who is a related person, who is a distinct person. Any supply of goods or services between related or distinct person as per section 25 in the course or furtherance of business would be treated as a deemed supply. For example, if Niveta Selvam, your answer is once again wrong. Kindly check. AB Limited has a HO in Maharashtra and a branch office Kerala. Goods are transferred from Maharashtra office to Kerala office. Goods are transferred from Maharashtra office to Kerala office. Is it a supply, deemed supply, or not a supply? Yes. Quick, 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 quick. I want a lot of you to answer. Quick, quick, quick. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply. Reshma, check your answer. I want a correct word here. Okay. Ishwar CK, check your answer. Dhanalakshmi, check your answer. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply. Sai Venkata, check your answer, ma. Harish, check your answer. Predominant of you right, mark my word. Soundar Rajan, check your answer. Priya, check your answer. Okay. It would be treated as deemed supply as per schedule 1. Why? Because here a transaction happens between two distinct persons. Distinct person means a person's office in one state. The AB Limited's office, a person's office located in one state, and the same person's office is located in another state, will be treated as two distinct persons. It would be a deemed supply as AB Limited office in Maharashtra and Kerala will have individual GST number. This individual GST numbers and all is just for your understanding to remember. When you write as per section, it is treated as two distinct persons. It would be treated as a deemed supply as per schedule 1. AB Limited office in Maharashtra, AB Limited office in Kerala, as per section 25, will be treated as a distinct person because you have two different GST number from which they operate. Sir, if they don't take GST number, what will happen? I'll ask one more further question. From that place, are they supplying goods or services or not? Sir, from that place, they supply goods. Then they have to mandatorily take registration. No one can live without taking registration. Sir, if without taking registration, I do business, it is called as fraud. Okay. It is an offense under GST for which person can be punished and prosecuted, including penalty. Okay. Now don't ask me that question and all. Okay. If I do, what will happen? Puchi jail podunga sir abindruvam. Okay. So don't be bothered about it. Come back here. Core discussion is that. So through. Can we move forward to our next question? This time little different. PQ Limited has a office in AP, has a head office in AP. More specifically the place Vizag. I'm not sure how many of you all know this place, otherwise called as Vishakhapatnam, very popularly called as. PQ Limited has a head office in AP, Vishakhapatnam, Vizag, and a branch office in AP, which is located in Vijayawada. Sir, I don't know this place and all. These are all two different places. Like your Tamil Nadu, what to say, Madurai, Trichy, Salem, Coimbatore. Likewise, Vizag, Ongole, Guntur, Chittur, these are all in Andhra Pradesh. No, no, sir, I only Kerala. Okay, Kollam, Kottayam, or it is going to be, what is a Munnar, Erka, I'm sorry, not Munnar, or it is going to be Tekadi, all these places, all this, like all these places, it's place, just you can fit within your state in case you are not convenient with this. But I ask only this question. PQ Limited has a head office in AP, Vizag, and a branch office in AP, Vijayawada, under a single GST registration. Under a single GST registration. Okay. Goods are removed from Vizag to Vijayawada. Is it a supply, deemed supply, or not a supply? Quick, 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 quick. Come, quick, come. Answer. Prithvi Raj, check your answer. Subhalakshmi, check your answer. Sumita, check your answer. Varun, check your answer. Niveda Selvam, check your answer. John Ebi, check your answer. Ishwar CK, check your answer. Karthik, check your answer. Prabhakaran, contra view you are taking. Yeah. Check your answer. 50-50 you are taking. 50% content is right, concluded in a wrong way. Deepa E. Sorry, not Deepa E. Not, sorry. Prem Kumar, check your answer. Priya, I think last answer also went wrong. Kindly you have to revisit your understanding. Make yourself comfortable. I don't know. I want all of you to take notes consciously, start revising it, read through it, then only you'll get a grip. Subhalakshmi, check your answer. Mukesh, check your answer. Mr. Sumit, I told you your names has to be properly worded. If you are going to do like a childish activity, Mr. Sumit Jain, I will throw you out of the room. Mark my word. If I throw you out of the room, you can't join any of my sessions. If a host removes a participant, the participant cannot join. I don't want you to have all these nonsense symbols over here. Do you acting over smart, Mr. Sumit Jain? You are in a virtual session, behave properly. Else, I would not bother about any administrative difficulty. I'll simply throw you out of your room. Go ahead, get out of it and change your name and get in. Shashikant through. Here the Srinivasan, why you are taking up disposal of asset and all here? Is it not? It is not a permanent disposal, no? I don't know that logic. Why you are not taking up that permanent disposal and all? Yeah. Ishwar through, Jawhar through, uh, Shilakshmi, check your answer. Gangadharan, check your answer. Cyril, again check your answer. Priya, got it right. Super. Yes. Any questions for any of you? See, I have only one more situation to discuss. When I complete that, it would conclude. Prem Kumar, I think this is your revised answer. Am I right? Sashikant, also revised answer. If it is a revised answer, if you use a small asterisk mark, so it would help us in understanding that. The revised answer. Okay. So if it is a revised answer, your answer is right. Given otherwise, your answer is right. Okay. Uh, Subbalakshmi, revised answer is true. Yes. Niveda, revised answer is true. Yes. Because I saw your name. That's why. Now come back here. Points for our further discussion is it would not be treated as a supply. No, 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 no. Subbalakshmi and Niveda, revised answer is not true. It would not be treated as a supply. Why it would not be treated as supply? Because all happens under single GSTN. There might be two branch office, head office. There might be head office, branch office, but all happens under a single GSTN. Let me repeat. All this happens under a single GSTN, not a supply. Let me repeat, not a supply. Why? Because no distinct person. Sir, why no distinct person? Very simple. All this happens under a same GSTN, single GSTN. Sir, in one GSTN, how many office I can have? As many office. Sir, as a lot of you originate from Tamil Nadu, I will give examples from Tamil Nadu. Yes. Sir, we have one office in Madurai, Trichy, Salem, Coimbatore, Erode, Tirupur. 6 places plus Chennai. 7 places we have office, sir. Good. For all 7 places together, you can have one GST registration in Tamil Nadu. Sir, if you have 10 places, allowed. Sir, if I have 20 places, come on. We have some companies who have 43 place office in Tamil Nadu under a single GST number. When it is mandatory to take a next registration, let me repeat, mandatory to take a next registration is when you go to next state. Sir, within the state, is it mandatory? No, it is not mandatory. That's what I encourage some of you also. Some of you told ITC will take only one registration. ITC, for ITC's convenience, take 5 registration. It is not law mandates them. Can you able to understand this logic? Law mandates when you have 2 different states, only 2 different registration is mandatory. Sir, can I have a common registration for Ernakulam office and Chennai office? Not possible. Ernakulam office will start with Kerala State Code, separate registration. Chennai office will start with Tamil Nadu State Code, separate registration. That is not possible. But what is possible is within Tamil Nadu, 4 offices, sir. 1 registration. When it is 1 registration, there is no distinct person. Yes or no? There is no distinct person. Then, when there is no distinct person, there is no supply. I am not saying there is no transfer. There is a transfer, but there is no supply. Is the transfer from head office to branch office is done for consideration? No, it is not done for consideration. So, point here is PQ Limited, when it moves the goods from Vizag to Vijayawada, PQ Limited, when it moves the goods from Vizag to Vijayawada, it would be treated as no, sir. It would be treated as no, sir. True. Can you move forward? Yes. Yet another question. I want a lot of you to get it right. Let me repeat. In fact, this is the final discussions that we are going to make on this topic. As we have discussed almost all the other varieties, we have left only with one more variety of discussion. That would be our last discussion on this topic. Moving forward, coming back here. Yes, Shushmita, you have raised your hand. 1 minute. Yes, Shushmita. Yes.
Sir, I went into a little confusion regarding this head office and branch transaction.
Hmm.
Will it not be considered as a principal to agent relationship, sir?
Principal to agent, you require 2 different persons.
Okay.
Head office and branch office is not principal. It's there's a difference between your what to say your laptop bag pocket and the handbag space. The handbag space is a different, but again it is within you. But laptop bag is different. That is principal and agent. Inside the laptop bag, there will be 3 compartments for me to keep the laptop, for me to keep the charger, and so on and so forth. Those are all head office and branch. Okay, you all together have a different person that who becomes as an agent. So that is the distinction you have to play here. Agent generally will be different person. Then
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
those provisions will not be
Got
applied.
it, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. PQ we used, no. VSS Limited had a HO in Chennai and a branch office in Coimbatore. VSS Limited had a head office in Chennai and a branch office in Coimbatore. Also had another branch office in Trichy. Okay. Chennai, Coimbatore. Okay. Some of you are all not conversant with all these codes. Now, core discussion of us is as the business are different. separate registration was obtained by the company within the state. A movement of goods happens between Chennai and Trichy. Is it a supply, deemed supply, not supply? What it is? Quick. Supply. Shruti, check your answer. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply. Good Subbalakshmi. Good Sai Venkat. Whoever texted till now, all of you are all right, but for the names I have called. Good. Good Priya. Good improvement. You understood. Jayan, good ma. Last as compared to last point. Good. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply. So this, what is this? Check your answer, Sudesh. Gangadharan, good. Quick. Last few minutes for answer. Reshma's revised answer is right. Very simple answer. Here, as they have a separate registration, let me repeat. As they have a separate registration, that's within the state, the branches has a separate registration. It will be treated as deemed supply as per schedule 1. A lot of you got it right. I'm happy. You all understood. Maybe if you all want, we can test what would come in exam. Okay. Can we? Sir, but this and all will not come. Huh? If it is a easy paper, this will come. Sir, if it is a tough paper, sir, if it is a tough paper, something else will come. Yes. Can we test it or we are sufficient with this? Huh? Sir, what is tough question that is possible here? Can we take up that? Yes. Yes, Harish, I'll unmute you. You want me to unmute you? Harish, you want me to unmute you? Okay. Understood. At your level, this is what would be maximum. VSS Limited has a HO in Madras, Chennai, and a branch office in Coimbatore, and also has another branch office in Trichy. As the business in Chennai and Coimbatore are different, A separate registration was obtained. A separate registration was obtained by the company within the state. A movement of goods has happened between Chennai to Tiruchi and Chennai to Coimbatore. Is it a supply, deemed supply, not a supply? I want both answer together. Both answer together. Supply, deemed a supply, not a supply. Quick, 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 quick. Vidya Shankar through Varun, check your answer. Niveda, check your answer. First case, second case. First case, Sumit Jain through Lavanya. Is it for first case or second case? We have two cases here. Ishwar, same problem. Srinivasan KC. Chennai to Trichy, sir. Super. Chennai to Coimbatore, sir. Super. Abdul, Aisha. You have to all come up with both situations. Write the situation and type. எல்லாமே மேல இருக்கிறோம் பாத்துக்கணும்னா எவ்வளவுதான் மேல இருக்கிறோம்னால முடியும். Good Harish. Good Harish. Ishwar CK. Is it a typo error? Sri Lakshmi. Subbalakshmi through Aisha, first transaction through Sai Venkat. Check your understanding. Prabhakaran, check your understanding. First case. Ishwar P, check your answer. John AB, check your answer. Divakar, Lavanya, Chennai to Trichy, correct. A lot of you got it right. Sai Venkat, answer is true. Revised answer is true. See, here there is a unique challenge you have. The business of Chennai and the business of Coimbatore is different. Because of that reason, they took a separate registration, which means it has to be understood that Trichy registration is forming part of your Chennai. That's what is a normal assumption, because head office and branch office alone can be merged. And one branch is a merged branch, or one branch and one head office together as a separate registration. Another branch has a separate registration. Sir, is things like this is possible? Just for your information, not for any other purpose. You all know Tamil Nadu CA Institute. Tamil Nadu CA Institute has two registrations. One in Coimbatore, one in Chennai. It's not only takes care of Chennai, the complete all branches. You have a branch in Erode, you have a branch in Salem, you have a branch in Tripur, you have a branch in Kanchipuram, you have a branch in Vellore, you have a branch, every place, all will come to Chennai registration. Coimbatore branch alone, separate registration. Why? Don't ask me. Where and all ROCs are located, in the same way, institute will also have. That might be the thought process of the institute. Now, because of this, what happens is, if any transaction happens between Chennai and Salem, both of them are under what? Same GST number. No supply. If a transaction happens between Chennai and Trichy in the given question, both of them are under what? Same registration, no supply. But if it is going to be Chennai and Coimbatore, they are under different registrations. Then it would be treated as a deemed supply. Both are under different registrations. That understood? John Abbott, your answer is true. Chennai Trichy, no supply. Chennai Coimbatore, deemed supply. True. Can we move forward? Yes. Any doubts for anybody? So any transactions between Chennai to Trichy, it would be treated as no supply. Similarly, a transaction between Chennai to Coimbatore would be treated as deemed supply. Why? Single GSTIN hyphen multiple GSTIN of a same person. Hope now you all will understand what is single GSTN and multiple GSTN. Single GSTN means in a state having one GST number, or for the company as a whole, always they have one GST number. Within the state, one GSTN they have extra, or if in case they are going to have more than one GSTN because of opening offices in different states, all will be treated as multiple GSTN. Transactions between them would be treated as some. That's all. Sir, beyond that, anything is there? Nothing is there. Okay, to test. Sir, I got all four right, sir. Anybody all four right? Any of you got all four situations right? All four right. Be honest to yourself. I don't know anything. People will rise on their own eyes and fall on their own eyes. Wise man says. You can rise and fall on your own eyes. If you don't prepare well, don't do anything, don't do according to the ethical ways of doing it, your rise and fall will be on your own eyes. All four through. Nobody here. Oh, great. Top three. Yes, sir, I got three right. Quick. Three right. Good. All four you got, huh? Superman. Three. All four. Good. Yes, that's all. That sums up our discussion. All four. Super. Quick. Done. We will now come to no supply category. Come back here. 1 minute. So any transactions between distinct or related person having different GST number, or any transaction between related person would be treated as a deemed supply. A related person, I think we already spent some time earlier itself. So a transaction between R Limited to P Limited, P Limited to Q Limited, if both of them are holding, having a same parent, having a same subsidiary, all will be treated as. Are there exceptions, sir? Yes, there is only one exception. Any gift, look at that word, any gift by an employer to his employee up to rupees 50,000 in a financial. Any gift by an employer to employee up to rupees 50,000 is going to be exempt. So any services by employer to employee up to rupees 50,000. What is this logic? I think great. There should not be any transaction between employer and employee. But if an employer and employee gets any transaction, say for example, some products are given to an employee, even without consideration, is treated as supply. A principal, sorry, not principal, an employer gives to its employee some gift for Diwali or for some festival season, whatever be it, Christmas or New Year, some gifts. Per annum, he is allowed to give gift up to rupees 50,000. Beyond that, 50,000 gift is not possible. Generally, gifts are in kind, so maximum gifts can be given is 50,000. Just an information. In case if you come across a gift transaction between employer to employee up to 50,000 rupees, then it is not a supply. Sir, an employer gives to its employee a gift as car 5 lakh rupees worth. Very simple. It would be treated as deemed supply as per schedule. Hope you understand. Because in any transaction between related person, employer and employee, would be treated as related person. Any transaction between related person is treated as a deemed supply. So any transaction means all transaction will come, sir. All transaction will. So government want to give some basic exemption. You all aware that gift in income tax also 50,000 rupees can come from third person. Same number is borrowed. That's just for information. Getting into a crucial discussion of Schedule 3 transactions. What is this Schedule 3 transaction? These transactions are neither supply of goods nor supply of services. That is to say, very popularly, these are all no supply transactions. These transactions are neither supply of goods nor supply of services. What do you mean by that understanding? Neither supply of goods nor supply of services. Points for our discussion. The transactions that we are going to discuss in the list, these transactions will not be treated as supply, which means no supply transaction. Any services by an employee to an employer in the course or in relation to his employer. In the course or in relation to his employer. All those services by an employee. All those services by employee to employer in the course or in relation to employer. Let's take up for an understanding. Majority of people in India pursue employment. Are they engaged in service? No doubt, yes, employees are providing services to their employers. No. But government's intention is not to tax all employees. So what government told is, all those services provided by employee to employer in the course or in relation to his employer. Sir, if an activity done by an employee which is not in the course or not in relation to his employment, what is told in your employment contract, you have to do that only. If you go out of the way and do something which is not mentioned in your employment contract, then it would not be treated. Then it would not be treated as a employment. If I have to take care of R Limited and I've been appointed as an employee of R Limited, then my duty is to work only for R Limited. R Limited has a subsidiary S Limited. And if I ask to do some work for S Limited, then in my employment contract should say I should work for the group. If my employment contract does not say that I should not work for the group, then very simple, I would be treated as, the activity would be treated as not done in the course of employment. So for us, a final takeaway here is, any services by an employee to employer in the course or in relation to employment is neither a supply of goods nor a supply of service. Done. Yes. So let's take up one or two illustrations just to take grip on this entry. Mr. D. Mr. D uh, is engaged in employment services of a company called as PQ Limited. Mr. D is engaged in employment of PQ Limited. He does various works of PQ Limited as per his employment contract and receives a salary of rupees 10 lakhs per annum. Is it a supply, deemed supply, not a supply, none of the above? Supply, deemed supply, not a supply, none of the above. Mr. D, who does something for PQ Limited as per the employment contract. Supply, not a supply, deemed supply, none of the above. Prithviraj, check your answer. Niveda, check your answer. Deepa, check your answer. Other than that, all of you who have raised are going to be correct. All of you are all three. Yes. Aisha and Subbalakshmi, you just typed now. No, check your answer. Not a supply. Schedule 3 transactions will come under a word called as no supply or not a supply. Neither SOG means what? Supply of goods. Or SOS means what? Supply of services. It is neither supply of goods nor supply of service, means no supply is the word that we will use. Maybe henceforth your refined wordings will be supply, deemed supply, no supply, none of the above. Whoever selected not a supply will select no supply. Transactions in schedule 3 are treated as no supply. When it is no supply, no levy of GST. Can you able to understand this logic? Subbalakshmi, revised answer is true. Point here is any services provided by an employee to his employer in the course of employment. Mr. D, who is working for PQ Limited, who earns 10 lakh rupees CTC, that money of 10 lakhs, is he engaged in service? Answer is no. As per schedule 3, it is a no supply. Any service by an employee to employer in the course or in relation to employment is not a supply. It is no supply transaction. Agreed. Lavanya, revised answer is true. Now, what is more important for us, for our discussion is, Mr. D, this time, as he is good in income tax, uh, he takes care of various aspects of it. Mr. D, as he is good in his income tax, and he was given an annual package of 10 lakh rupees as the final package amount. This Mr. D, and he was taking care of the accounts, this, that of PQ Limited. Mr. PQ, who is an individual, and the managing director of PQ Limited calls Mr. D and says, Mr. D, can you prepare and file my income tax return? Let me repeat. Can you prepare and file my income tax return? Was the request of Mr. PQ. For a moment, think. If an MD comes and calls a person, if an MD comes and calls an individual and say, can you file and give me my income tax return? Will the fellow will say, no, not as per my employment contract. Why should I do? Mr. D said, yes, 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 I will do and give it. So Mr. PQ income tax return was coordinated by Mr. D. He coordinated with the chartered accountant of PQ and successfully filed the return. Because he accepted that activity, no hurry, no hurry. Harish, I have not completed the story. Because he has accepted that activity and he did that activity in a more professional way, Mr. PQ paid rupees 15,000 to Mr. D. Question before you. Supply, deemed supply, no supply, none of the above. Pick. Mr. D, who is an employee, works for PQ Limited, files an individual return of his managing director, PQ. As Mr. D is good in income tax, he is being given that task by managing director. And managing director pays a money of rupees 15,000 to PQ. Supply, deemed supply, not a supply, none of the above. Ishwar, check your answer. Subhashini, check your answer. Lavanya, check your answer. Sri Lakshmi, check your answer. R Vaishnavi, sorry, R Vishali, check your answer. R Vishali, check your answer. Sai Venkat, check your answer. Naveen Jacob, check your answer. Niveda Silvam, check your answer. Lavanya, check your answer again. Ishwar revised answer is through. John Abhi, check your answer. Quick. Yes. Now, my question is this. What is told in your no supply schedule 3? Services by an employee to employer in the course of employment. Is Mr. D is appointed as an employee in PQ Limited or as an employee by Mr. PQ to take care of his activities? He's been appointed by a company called as PQ Limited and to take care of the works accounts of Mrs. PQ Limited. He was not appointed for the individual purposes. Additionally, he does. Because additionally he does, and it is not forming part of his employment contract. So the said activity will not be covered under Schedule 3. The said activity would be treated as a supply. It is a service by Mr. D. He is a person. The service is already made, done for a consideration of 15,000, followed by it is in the course or furtherance of business. No doubt he does this activity even once, twice, or few of the managerial team, whatever be it, all that would be treated as supply. Coming back here. Getting into a next part of our discussion. All those services provided by a court or a tribunal established under any law. See, a court fee is collected by the court, tribunal are one level below to the courts, which is again a fact-finding authorities. In income tax, in GST, in sales tax, we will have tribunal and then only we'll go to the court. Any fact-related matter, let it solved be in the tribunal level, so that only law-related matter goes to the court. service by any court or tribunal under the GST law. After collecting money, all is no supply. Whatever fees collected by a court, whatever fees collected by a tribunal. Does court collect money? Yes. For taking up a case, court collected small fees, 300 rupees, 200 rupees, 100 rupees. Some fee is collected. That fee collected by a court, that fee which is collected by the court is out from the tax. Similarly, all those money paid as salary to MLA, MP, mayor, councillor, who are all holding a office, which is office of MLA, office of MP, all that money are treated as no supply. So all those services provided by MLA, MP, mayor, councillor, no supply. Similarly, all those posts which are recognized by Constitution of India, that is also treated as no supply. And any person who hold a chairperson, member, director, that post of any board or commission of central government, state government, Metro Water Board will have a chairperson and members. Tourism Board will have a chairperson and members, director. Take Electricity Board, we will have a chairperson, member. Port, Chennai Trust Port, we have a chairperson, member. These are all boards appointed by the government. Board means an authority, a judicial authority. This, not judicial authority, legal authority to do some activities. Now these boards where each person, a chairperson or a member or a director, are paid his salary. MLA, MP are paid salary. Again, people who hold post recognized by Constitution of India, Chief Justice of India, Chief Justice of a state high court, whomever it might be. All these are all post recognized by Constitution of India, post recognized by all these. All these posts, all these services performed by them, all this would be treated as no supply transaction, followed by all those services of funeral, burial, cremation, or mortuary services, including transportation of the departed soul. Last service to a human. You cannot tax all these. So government said no supply. So carefully, if you come back here, we have a few entries to discuss. Any employment contract in relation to employment, no supply. Any fees collected by court or tribunal, no supply. Any salary paid to MLA, MP, mayor, councillor, or Chief Justice of India, Justice or Chief Justice of a High Court, Election Commissioner, Chief Election Commissioner, these are all posts recognized by Constitution of India. Plus, Board of Commission or Board, Chairperson, Member, Director, whatever money paid to these people, it is no supply. They are not engaged. Whatever they do is a no supply. I would put it this way. Instead of pay, whatever money paid, using that word, whatever done by them is no supply. Funeral services, burial, cremation, mortuary services, all this is no supply. If it stops here, no, we have one more list. On that, two things we will take today, two things we will reserve for our next class discussion. Sale of land, sale of building is no supply. I think that is understandable and self-explanatory. If you sell land, that is neither a goods nor a service. It's an immovable property. If you sell a building, it is neither goods nor a service. It's an immovable property. Sale of land, sale of building is no supply, followed by actionable claims. What do we mean by actionable claims, sir? Actionable claims are nothing but where what is going to happen tomorrow is not known today. A lottery ticket. After the ticket which you have has the serial number which was selected in the lucky dip, then you are entitled to collect that money. That moment your lottery ticket will become an actionable claim. A person has taken an insurance policy, he should live healthy, but because of various reasons he passed away. Until he passes away, it is not an actionable claim. Once he passed away, no, that becomes an actionable claim because the insurance company will pay money for that policy. Value that is going to be derived by an underlying asset, which should be treated as actionable claim. So you can think of bill of exchange. Okay, all these are all examples of actionable claim. What government says is all actionable claim except lottery, betting, and gambling. So if it's a bill of exchange actionable claim, no supply. If a loan actionable claim, no supply. If it is a lottery ticket actionable claim, supply. If a betting ticket actionable claim, supply. Law consciously say all this. So we have two more transactions, a drop shipment and a high sea sale. These two transactions consciously I'm reserving for our next class discussion because both warrants a 20 minutes discussion. We can't squeeze it and close it today. On the no supply category, we have as of now discussed 7 transactions. Any services by employee to employer in the course of employment. Followed by all those services provided by your court or tribunal after collecting some money. Or it is going to be your services by MLA, MP, mayor, councillor, all these persons are treated as no supply. Plus any person who appointed in the board, all this will also be treated as no supply. Services in relation to all those funeral, burial, cremation, no supply. If you sell a land, if you sell a building, no supply because it is neither a goods nor a service. Sale of land and sale of building. Sir, sale of building under construction. Sale of building under construction, no doubt, is a service that we will learn later. But vanilla sale of already completed building, already completed land, already available land is not a supply under GST. Actionable claims other than lottery ticket is not a supply. We have two topics, drop shipment and high sea sale, which we would take it up in our next class when we meet relating to it. Until then, signing off from you. Thank you all for a effective and patient listening. I'll stay here. You can unmute yourself and we can discuss in case if you have any questions. Yes.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
sir, for funeral service, I have doubts. Sir, service is a business only, no, sir. For funeral service, we pay money and they provide service, no, sir.
Government says it will not be taxed. Who
For
are we?
them, there will be no GST and all, sir.
Sir, government says it is no supply, ma. It will not come into the definition of supply itself. When it does not come into this definition of supply, where is the question of tax liability? Enable.
Okay. But we pay money. It's also supply. We treat it as supply of service only, no, sir. For us, it is supply only, no, sir. They provide service to us.
Employment also it is supply of service only, no?
Sir?
For employment also same logic apply, no? Is it applicable only for mortuary? For employment also we are paying money, no?
Sir, in employment, there is a contract between the employee and the employer, sir.
Here also there is a contract between the cremator and the deceased person's relatives, sir.
So that means if we treat this as a contract, means every business is a not a supply, sir. If from a seller to buyer, there is some contract between the buyer and seller, no, sir.
To put an end to all the discussion. Government says that is not a supply. Who are we to question that? Government says in a schedule, this transaction is no supply. When government says it is no supply, why are we questioning that? It's my fundamental point.
Hey, the government says it's okay, sir, but I have a doubt why it is not treating, sir. Why they are treating it not as a supply? That's the question, sir.
Funeral service, ma, should be the departed soul's last service. Think on a humanitarian ground. If you charge GST on all this, what will happen? It's not right. Okay, a departed soul should go bless. So it's very right. It's very right in treating it as a no supply transaction. Okay, I don't find any different view at all. And moreover, I would until point see only by your age you can understand many things, and only by your practical exposure towards many transactions you will understand a lot more logics associated with it. I don't think so with the current maturity level you would be able to appreciate the logic why it went in. Okay, and if we get into that deliberation, it will take another hour's time to discuss about why these are all not brought in. Okay, so let's not get into that debate. Let's honestly understand it's a schedule 3 transactions. Government said this is no supply. When government says this is no supply, or government says this is a deemed supply, then we are here bound by that definition. We can't take our views and our views and infuse on that. It has to be accepted as it is.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in deemed supply, different registration number under one state, it would attract tax, sir.
Sorry.
Say, different registration number in a single state for transfer of goods, it would attract tax, sir.
It would be treated as a deemed supply and it would be leviable to GST. Yes. Yes, Subhash. Thank you all for effective and patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.